got that heat.
Welcome to another edition of the Lakers Locker Room and the first in-person podcast in 2 years. This is super exciting. We're in the beautiful NUBASE Student Center, 221 College Drive. For those who are watching the YouTube version, I am so excited to be back here, man. I haven't posted a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a minute I posted, but I'm back. I'm excited. We reloaded with some new gear. Shout out to NUBASE. So I'm super excited to be doing this podcast. I'm your host, Tajon Graham, and in this interview, man, I got a very special guest, man. He needs no introduction. He's my boy, Scarborough man, and now a USports winner for Community Service Award. We got Deven Doodnath. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, T. Thanks for having me on here. It's good to be back on the podcast.
Man,
Get a couple of these in every few years. It seems like.
Yeah, you know, the last time we did this podcast, remember it was COVID. It was what, December 2020?
Yeah, we were on lockdown. We were on Zoom. I'm pretty sure the last time I was on this podcast.
It was
2 years. A lot has happened in 2 years.
Man, where do I begin, man? But we got a lot to talk about in this episode. Like I said, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, man. I'm super excited to get this conversation going, bro.
Yep, no worries, man.
So let's get right into it, man. So your team just came off an amazing run to the OE Final Four. I think it was the farthest your team has ever reached. Mm-hmm. You know, just talk to me about that season, man. Looking back at it,
It wasn't by any means an easy season. I think what made it so good is that we definitely faced a lot of trials and tribulations going through it. And for a lot of the guys, it was their first year playing OUA soccer, and it had a bit of everything. There was adversity. There's moments where we had disagreements with the coaching staff, as players and coaches, but we managed to overcome all that and get some good results. And like anything with sports is you don't necessarily have to play well, but as long as you win, no one really matters. And I think for a lot of our biggest moments in the season, we didn't necessarily play the best we were capable of, but we got the results. And when you get the results, anything is possible, right? And that's the beauty of any sport, really. So yeah, made it to the Final Four, and unfortunately our luck ran out there, and that was it. But it was still a great season, a historic season, and hopefully the program can build on this now and keep doing what they're doing, keep playing the same way they're playing, and keep making good progress in the next few years.
I had your teammate Cedric in the first episode of this season. He was talking about when you guys were at training camp in terms of everything was gelling. You guys are getting ready to begin the season. At one point in the season, did you guys realize we might have something special here?
I think from the very beginning, I think I've been here for 6 years now. So I've been on I've seen 6 different teams, and this is like the first year that we've had a really big, almost like personnel reset. We had 12 rookies coming in, and the best part about kids coming in, these young guys, 17, 18, is that they're not scared of anything. They've never played in this league before, so they don't know what to expect, but they don't fear it. They come in with the mentality that we can win whatever. So we had 12 guys coming in saying, yeah, we can win, we can do it, anything. And then you had the vets that are like, okay, let's be a little realistic, but still keep this positive energy. And we gelled right away in preseason. We were working hard together, and I think from the very beginning we realized that we could have a very special year. And the way our schedule is set up, so for men's soccer, when I first started, we had 16 games, then that got cut down to 14. Then COVID season, it was 10, and now it's 12. So if you get a favorable run of games, like we only had to play Carleton once, U of T once, and Ryerson or TMU now once. Yeah. We had Queens twice, we had Laurentian twice, RMC twice. Those are 6 games that are very winnable, and that puts you in a very good position, right? So I think this year everything aligned perfectly for us to have the year we did. But by no means was it a fluke. We definitely worked hard, and all the boys put in a lot of effort and work to get to this point. For sure. Let's talk about the playoffs. So you guys opened the first round against U of T. That was a pretty big of a dogfight of a win. But talk to me about that win. Again, like you said, it was a dogfight. The weather was cold and windy and rainy and sort of snow at certain points, and but I think part of any good team is having a character and having an identity, and we kind of embrace that northern weather, that northern climate as part of our identity. That we live here. This is where we're from. We represent this place, so we can play in the weather that's here. If it's snowy, cold, and windy, we want that because other teams don't want that. So we embrace that. And again, it was a dogfight. We were a set piece team. We scored most of our goals off set pieces. We scored a goal, and then for the most of the game, we just defended. And we did get lucky that U of T, I think they hit the post, they hit the crossbar. Yeah. So they, you could say they dominated the possession, but end of the day, we scored and they didn't. And that's all that matters in playoff sports is winning. It doesn't matter how you do it. So we won that game. Even for like the weather, the amount of fans that came out,
I was there.
Like the environment, the passion, like that was definitely a motivating factor that got us over the line. The fans, and then just the mentality of the team was so strong in that playoff run.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I have a question too. Would you say that because it was you guys' last home game for the seniors, like yourself, Jack, and Tyrell, that it added an extra sense of motivation? Said this is the last time we're going to put on a Nipissing jersey on this field.
Well, I mean, we weren't really thinking about that because, like, at that time, we didn't know if it was going to be our last home game, because there was a really real possibility that if we went all the way, we could have hosted the championship here, and also we thought that there was going to be a third place game, so we could have hosted that here as well, depending on how results went. So we weren't really doing that. But I think definitely with myself, Tyrell, and Jack is one of the strongest leadership groups this program has had, and I think the guys coming in the first and second years, they really respected us and appreciated us, and they wanted to do that for us at least, and that's what it felt like. So there was really good energy. But no, we were never thinking this is our last game. It was like, all right, there's always one more. That was our mentality.
Yeah. And let's go into the next game. So you guys then play Ontario Tech, the number 1 seed, and I was seeing all over Instagram, all you guys are posting about how people thought, oh, you guys are going to lose, your road's going to end here, and you guys come out with an unbelievable upset. Just talk a bit about what the mentality was going into that game, hearing all the noise and hearing all the chatter saying that Ontario Tech's going to beat you guys. I think they had already beat you guys in the regular season. What was your team's mindset going into that game?
Well, I think people that were saying that they were going to beat us, they were basing that purely off of Ontario Tech being the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference and the number 5th team in the country, but I've never actually watched the games. Ontario Tech, the way they did so well this season is playing as the underdog, as sitting back and hitting teams on the counter. Whereas when we played them, we sat back. We made them. We played their own game basically.
Right.
And when they were forced to come out and actually play, they didn't do it very well. When they beat us in regular season, the first game, we had chances. They had chances and they scored, and that's how the game goes. The second time we played them, we played most of our third string guys, and they had a lot of stars on, and they beat us, but it was a close game. We should have tied at the end. We had a goal called back. So we knew going to that game that, despite everyone was saying that the Ontario Tech was a very beatable team, and we actually preferred to get Ontario Tech as opposed to TMU or Carleton. And we wanted to get Ontario Tech, and we knew that we would get them. And once the game started, I mean, they got a penalty, and it shouldn't have been a penalty. They scored, and the whole game we were just clinging on. We got a red card.
You guys got a red card?
We got a red card in like the last 15 minutes, the last 15 to 20 minutes, and then
I didn't know that.
We scored the equalizer in like the last minute of the game. Went to extra time. We clung on. Went to shootout. We missed 2 of our penalties in the shootout, but we stole 1. So everything was that night. Everything was on our side. There's a lot of factors that went our way, and that's how football goes. Sometimes it's your night, and on that night it was our night. I don't know. When I went to penalties, I was saying if we win, I'll have to start praying again, because there's got to be some kind of divine intervention looking out for us if we somehow come out and win this game. But yeah, that was one of the most memorable nights for me, I think, as an Nipissing athlete.
Yeah, and honestly too, when I was looking at the game, like one of the goals I think they scored was kind of controversial, because I saw the guy was kind of stalling in terms of trying to.
In their shootout. So basically, like in the for a penalty, if you stop your run up, if you stop and then you can't restart again, you have to stop and shoot. You can't just stop and then run again.
Yeah. And
he stopped his run up, and it's a foul, so he wasn't allowed to retake it, and that was the
difference. Right?
That was the difference, right? Yeah. Then Gabe made some good saves, and we had some guys that need to score their penalties. So we had a first year guy step up and score his penalty perfectly. Like it was so it was good. It was incredible.
Man, I just saw like the tape, and I'm like, I can just see how emotional you guys were, because it's like, damn, like, because like I said, all the chatter was saying, oh, you guys are gonna lose, like it's gonna end here, and to come out on top, and the way you guys came out on top, it's like, man, like you couldn't help but like feel like happy for you guys to say, yo, you guys are accomplishing something amazing.
Yeah, it was. I remember like after I think Cedric scored the game winner, and we all running on the field.
Yeah.
And like I just remember sprinting off and taking off and seeing people running towards me, and I'm thinking, oh crap, like these are Ontario Tech fans coming on the field, like it's about to go down. But we had so many fans there, and they all like, it was, I guess, our parents, like players, family and friends. So we had like at least like 30, 40 fans like running to the field, and it's just like one big huddle, and it was a very emotional night. And I mean, we talk about my second year when we beat Queens in playoffs, 2 different games, 2 different moments, but like we didn't have, many of our own fans that in Kingston, but in Oshawa we did, so that makes it special. So yeah, it was an incredible night. But again, even after we won that game, so we're back in the butts. It's like, okay, we got McMaster next. Like, let's go, because at that point we weren't scared of anybody,
Yeah. And then let's talk about McMaster quickly. I know it might be a touchy subject, but obviously you guys at that point, you guys know you beat Ontario Tech. You guys know you're 1 win away from clinching nationals. It seemed, obviously I heard that in the first half you guys, I think, was tied, and I think you guys just eventually ran out of gas. But talk to me about that McMaster game.
It was, well, first of all, it was like unusually foggy. Like you couldn't really see very far on the pitch. But it was a good game. I mean, they had chances, we had chances, and unfortunately at the end of the day, like they take a fluke shot and Gabe kind of loses it in the fog and it's hard to see and it goes in, and once one went in, it's always an uphill battle from there, especially against a team like McMaster, who they are a very good team.
Yeah.
You don't make it that far for no reason, and again, one of our biggest problems throughout the years is that we couldn't score goals. If you're relying on free kicks, to score your goals, and eventually you're going to get found out, right? And that's what happened. We got found out. Tyrell had to come off injured. The coaching staff put in someone with very little experience, so it wasn't very fair to that player to come in to a game of that level, not having played. It was a big moment, so it's maybe a mistake there, but but that's soccer, man. It happens, and after the game was done, you kind of just look back and appreciate how far you've come, and hopefully all the younger guys that whether they played in that game or they traveled or they didn't get to travel, they can see that experience and they want to get back to that point again and relive those feelings, because winning those 2 first playoff games is impressive, but if you were to win one more next year and you go to nationals, it'd be incredible. So hopefully they can do it again, but it all depends on factors like recruiting and scheduling. So we don't know.
How much better guys get?
I mean, I don't know who's coming in next year. I don't really know any of the recruits coming in, and hopefully, obviously you trust that they're going to be bringing in quality players.
Right.
But again, like I said, scheduling could be a thing. Having to go from having to play Carleton and TMU once to maybe having to play them twice. That's 4 games. That's a 30-year schedule right there. Yeah. Those are very, very hard games, right? So yeah, it'd be cool for me to watch from wherever I am next year, and just support the team, and hopefully, because I know these guys and I want these guys to do well. So hopefully, all of them can actually, come out next year and do the same thing.
Right. Because,
when you do it once, it's a fluke. They had a good year, but you do it 2-3 times in a row, then it's like, okay, these guys are here to stay. They're contenders,
Yeah.
There's a difference between being a good team and being a good program. And I think right now we're on the verge of being a good program, but it's going to take some building.
Yeah. Before I move on, I kind of want to ask you this question, because you were a captain for a long time, but I noticed that, and I think people listening to this podcast can appreciate this, this year your role was a lot different. And in terms of maybe having to take a step back, kind of talk a bit about that, and what was your mindset realizing that you might have to take a step back this year?
Well, obviously any athlete wants to play, any athlete wants to start every game. And I think as someone who for 4 years, started majority of the games I played, was playing 90 minutes, captain, being told this year that, you have to take a step back. At first, obviously it's a tough pill to swallow. I think in terms of leadership, there wasn't really a change there. I'm still the same person I am as a leader, regardless of, whether or not I'm officially a captain or not. But I think I pretty much was. Like, there was no real change there. In terms of playing, at the end of the day, the coaches make a decision and you have to accept it. I'm not going to come out there and try and be a disruptive presence, because I want the team to do well, and when the team's winning, and yes, could there have been moments where I should have played more? Probably, and I can appreciate when the coaching staff tells me, okay, we probably should have put you in at this moment. We apologize. That's fair. They can recognize their mistakes,
Right.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I felt I still had a lot to offer on the field. If you don't get given the chance to make a difference, it is what it is. But I'm not going to complain, because the guys that were in the team, they did fantastic, and I want to see them succeed and see all the boys who are playing do well, and we did do well. So there's nothing. There is no. If we had been losing every game when I wasn't playing, then I would have been upset.
That's a different ballgame.
But if you're winning, then my job is to make sure the guys that are playing on Saturday and Sunday are prepared throughout the week and they can do their best, and they did. So I mean, and honestly, it was kind of, not that it was nice, but like, you know, I've had a lot of, you know, knee injuries over the years and little muscle injuries. So it was kind of nice so that, you know, my body wasn't destroyed because the last year I tore my meniscus, and coming back from that, you know, even in preseason, my knee kind of was swelling up again, and I was like, oh crap, here we go, another 2 months of just trying to, you know, take painkillers in the morning to get through the pain, you know. So
yeah, I know meniscus too, 'cause I tore mine when I was 13. So
yeah,
I know the pain. I know the pain. But honestly, shout out to you, because I really want to ask that question, because a lot of times on teams, the ego gets in the way, especially as you get older, and like you said, the situation varies. Like if you're winning, okay, cool, then I can accept, you know, playing my role. But like you said, if it's the losing, that, and okay, what's going on? But I really appreciate that, because knowing you and knowing how passionate you are about leadership, and it was like yourself and Tyrell and Jack, like you talked about, it was really impressive to see you being willing to take a step back and say, yeah, I know I'm my last year, yeah, I want to play, but if it means that we go farther, which you guys end up doing, I'll take it.
Yeah, I have no, like, I mean, every person wants to play. I would have loved to come on in that, you know, playoff game against UFT, you know, just to really be in the because I'm a player that I love to get stuck into those battles. I'm a very physical player, but you know, like I think throughout the time I've been at NUBASE, I've had a lot of injuries, and it's caused me to lose some of my physical assets, like my speed and such. And sometimes you have to recognize that there are other players who are in a position to offer more than you are. And you know, like, and there was even a point at the end of last year where I was like, mentally, I'm just done with this. Yeah. You know, I'm just done. And then, you know, but I knew I wanted to come back, at least give it one more crack, and at least offer whatever I could offer. And I think in terms of leadership presence, off the field, on the field, just encouraging guys, pushing guys, that was my role, and I was okay with it. You know, I didn't have a problem being the guy that people look to, and when I was called upon, you know, I came in and, you know, I did the job that I was asked to do, and you can't really ask for any more, right? And again, I'm never going to be the guy that's going to come in and start, you know, trying to disrupt the team and trying to, you know, be upset and be angry and make it visible and shown, because it's hard. It's not easy, because, you know, when you don't play, you want to play, you know. So, but I'm not gonna. It's you as a leader, you can't react. You can't show visible disappointment. You can't come out, oh, F this, F that, you know. You know, you have to kind of just keep it in and keep it together for everyone else. And then when you go home, you kind of just find ways to unwind and to relax and just take your mind off of it. And I think what would really help me this year balance that is finding separation from soccer and life, you know. I think a lot of athletes struggle with their identity. I think, and I've noticed it with, it's different for me because I played 4 years. I've had great experiences where I was part of, you know, deep playoff runs, you know, scored goals, got the assist, you know. So I had my time, but a lot of guys that come in their first years, maybe they don't dress, you know, and then second year, you know, they dress but they don't play, and then it takes time to build. You know, we had a lot of guys in their first year last year that either didn't dress, or they were bit part players, or they were just bench players. That now the second year, they had a year to learn, they had a year to grow, and then they played a lot of bigger roles. And I think a lot of guys struggle to realize that your sport is not who you are. You know, you are not a basketball player. You are not a soccer player. You are you. You are, you know, you're Tejan. I'm Deven.
Right.
You offer so much more to life and to the university and your community than just kicking a ball or throwing a ball around for a couple hours a day, you know?
Yeah, and I think the beauty about going back to COVID is that it gave people the opportunity to find their identity. I know we've talked about it the last time we were on the podcast, but like a lot of times when people come into university, especially when you're 18, 19 or whatever it is, like all you know is your sport. But I think as you grow and you get older, especially when you go from your case, like you're 25, so obviously you've been in university for a long time, but the growth aspect of who Deven was from when he first came into now was different. And I can appreciate you talking about that, because I've been someone, we've both been people that have always talked about this with our team and other people, that like, yes, you're athletes, but there's more to basketball, there's more to soccer, there's more to hockey, there's more than whatever, because at one point it's done. And then when you stop putting on the cleats or you stop putting on the basketball shoes, what's next? And I think for you talking about that, I really appreciate that, and I hope that it's something that people can take away from this podcast moving forward, that even if you're at a young age, start thinking about that now, because you don't want to look back and say, oh, I could have done this, or oh, I could have done more. Then you look back into your university experience and like, damn, I didn't really do anything else. Because it's hard to be a student athlete sometimes, because all you know is school, your sport, but not realizing that, hey, if you take the time to see what's out there, you might find something else that you might really like.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times too, when people look back on their sporting careers, I mean, you might not remember each detail about each game, but what you will remember is the relationships you've built throughout your time here. You know, like some of my best memories are being on road trips and, eating at a restaurant with all the team and just like all those laughs, memories, or, doing stuff with your teammates outside of sports, right? So there's so much more to each person than just their sport. And I think a lot of times, you have guys coming in that they're used to. I know for soccer, it's different for soccer than it is for basketball because you guys are year round, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of guys for soccer, they're coming in and they're used to playing from the time they've been like 10, 11, 12 years old. Soccer game on Saturday, you practice Monday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe you have a game on Tuesday. You're playing school soccer, so you're playing soccer every single day. You come here, and training here is not the same as training back in your club team because you're preparing. Right. You're preparing for a match day every week. You're preparing for a different opponent. So there's different ways that practice is varied. So you're not training at that same intensity, that same level is different, and then that can have a mental effect on you because you're not training, so you're not getting that physical release. Then when it comes to match day, you're not even in the squad, or you're not playing. This whole crisis of you've been a soccer player your whole life, now you have that taken away from you, and you just don't know who you are. And a lot of guys kind of decline, and you have to realize that there's so much more to you as a person. You have so much more to offer than just your ability to, hit a puck or shoot a three. There's so much more to you as a human being, and I think that identity crisis is something that we're trying to alleviate in our team and in our players. And I think a lot of guys are realizing that if they can get involved in other things outside of campus, it doesn't have to be like a big thing like NUBASE or strength, just like organizing things with your friends or going out to a movie, just making strong connections. You'll be able to separate soccer or your sport, from your personal life, and you can make that switch like so much easier. And so once you graduate, and you'll be much easier and more at peace with leaving it behind. Yeah. And I think like I'm excited to play beer league next summer. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited to play rec soccer and have fun and do that. So it's a new phase of life, and I think I've prepared myself well for that over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Let's segue into this next topic because we were talking a bit about just now about identity. Both of us have really done stuff outside of our sport. What really bonded us, because we knew each other first year. Obviously, when I first came, like we met each other obviously at the athletic center. But what really bonded to us, where we really got closer, was NUBASE. Mm-hmm. What was it for you that really wanted you to really be a part of NUBASE? For those who don't know, because obviously I've seen how hard you work. For those who don't know, Deven's our director of community relations at NUBASE. We've been doing that now for going on 3 years now.
Yeah,
3 years now. So what was it about NUBASE that really wanted you to get involved?
Well, I mean, even before NUBASE was started, when the thing with George Floyd, his murder first happened, and what really shocked me that there were protests everywhere, even here in North Bay, and we're talking to friends and even to Tyrell, saying like, we should have like a BIPOC or student group at the university. We don't, and then because it could really make a difference. And I always say about Nipissing and North Bay is that there's so much potential in this city and in this campus for it to be a place. First of all, it's beautiful here. Any time of year is beautiful. Winter is beautiful, fall is beautiful, summer is beautiful. And a lot of people are getting sick of living in the city, living in Toronto, having to commute, an hour and a half every day by transit, and to come up here where you're 3.5 hours at most away from Toronto, and it's a beautiful place. A lot of people here, 6 years ago, they wouldn't feel welcome. So to create a more inclusive environment to help people here and also help the existing people here, when you came in with the idea for NUBASE, it wasn't just about social justice. It was about improving this place and making it a better place. I always say, leave the place better than when you found it. Yeah. And I think through NUBASE we've really done that. And I was ready to be a part in any capacity of NUBASE, and it was just something that just felt like a natural step to join and to try and make a difference and make a change.
What's been your favorite part about being about NUBASE? I know we have a lot of events that we've done and the conversations, people we've met, but what has been your favorite part about being a part of this NUBASE journey?
I don't know. It's a tough question because there's been so much. The going into schools, doing that program. The Shoot for Change game was fun. And we've just done. I think just seeing it becoming like a more open dialogue, and people becoming more, because before you have a topic, you have a discussion about racism or diversity, and people kind of just go.
It's like the stiff arm effect.
Yeah, they get scared because everyone's so scared of saying the wrong thing and offending someone,
and cancel culture,
and I'm saying, and my biggest thing is like I hate when like the way like in a lot of meetings go now, like someone makes a mistake and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, this and that, I just really want to apologize, we didn't know. I'm like, you know what, stop with the bull crap, because people make mistakes, it happens. How are we going to move on? How are we going to change to make sure this doesn't happen again? Like you need to be able to have hard discussions. And you need to make people uncomfortable so you can break that first barrier, and then it becomes a more comfortable conversation. Because it's, they always say, if you're a bystander, you're on the side of the oppressor.
Right.
If you just don't want to have the conversation because you're uncomfortable, then you're perpetuating the system that is holding people down. And I think for a long time in this institution and in this community, it's not that people didn't care; they were just scared.
Yeah.
And now with NUBASE, we're really breaking and changing that culture, and you're seeing participation in the school boards and in individual schools with teachers, through the police force, so through healthcare, at the university. So this community is really changing. So that's definitely been my favorite part of being involved in NUBASE, is seeing like a measurable change in the community and in North Bay.
I think I agree with that too, and I think also too the growth of NUBASE from when we first started this back in. And not even though we got established 2021, it really started back in when, just like you said, George Floyd happened in 2020 and the conversations. That's even how I got close to like Tyrell and Simone and stuff like that. Like, I think the fact that we had the idea of NUBASE, and to see it come to fruition, everything we've said we wanted to do, we've done it, and we're still doing it, right? And I think the fact that how much people have come together in terms of supporting, how much people we've met, having a relationship with the president and Casey and stuff like that, I think it's been really big. I think the biggest thing we did, especially this year, was especially after, it's funny because you guys had that big game winner against Queens. Tyrell hit the game winner, but like September 25th was a huge day because that's when we launched the first ever BIPOC bursary. And it was fortunate because we surprised it and named it the Warren Lindsay bursary, which she had no idea about, which was super exciting. But I think that was the biggest thing, is that from the moment we started NUBASE, we said, this is what we want to do. We want to make change. This is how we're going to do it. And we did it. Yeah,
I mean, and that's the thing with that bursary. You have students who previously might have been a little nervous about coming here or didn't know much about, Nipissing, North Bay. They now see, small school, small class size, and so all these good things, great residences, great professors, and now there's a BIPOC bursary. They want me here. They're even going to give me money to come here as a person of color, as a brown student, as a black student, as a Asian student. They want me here. There's these bursaries that are designed for me, So and I always say that, like, for us, we're kind of blessed that we play the sport, because when you walk around and people see Lakers basketball, Lakers soccer, it's like, oh, they know right away. He goes to university. He's a varsity athlete, so he must be put together. But for the average student, person of color, if someone's walking around, in a hoodie and jeans and some J's, the perception is different.
Right.
It's instantly different.
Right.
So and people, I think people are cognizant of that. So now having this bursary here, you don't need the tracksuits for people to know that you're a valued member of this university and this community. So I think that's what NUBASE's biggest thing is doing, is changing the perception of people of color are viewed in the community and in Nipissing.
Yeah, and I think too that at times I appreciate the fact that we're all athletes. At times it has been challenging just because of scheduling conflicts. But I think the biggest thing that has helped for us all being athletes, especially this year's executive team, is that it puts a face, or it shows that we can be more than just athletes. A lot of times there's a lot of stereotypes in terms of athletes are just this or athletes are just that. They just play the sport, whatever. But I think we've shown that athletes can do more. We can do something for a bigger purpose, and we can use our platform for what we do to make change. And I think that's been the most biggest blessing, is to see how much a change and effect we can have. Because I've always said that athletes don't realize how much of a platform they have. I think for me, the biggest thing was seeing the NBA bubble in 2020, seeing how much change that those NBA players made with the jerseys and, all the commercials, and what Chris Paul and LeBron and James are doing. And that's kind of what, started Shoot for Change, was that idea. But ultimately, especially like you said, being at a small school and not having, obviously, let's be honest, not the amount of resources, say, like a U of T or all these other schools have, but we've shown that you don't need to have a lot to make a difference.
Exactly. And I think, like, especially if you talk about the NBA, those guys at that level, they're making millions. They have the time to do these, so they should be doing these initiatives and these things all the time. We have school. Some of us have part-time jobs. We have our athletic commitments. So the fact that we were able to, you have NUBASE. I have my mental health thing. Everyone else at NUBASE is doing a lot of stuff as well. But the fact that we can do these other things successfully, it really shows, like, the true potential of every student here. And I think that's the biggest thing. Once we're gone, I think we won't see the true impact of NUBASE until 5 years from now, when you have this organization being run, by 6, 7, 8 students, and they don't have to be athletes. It can be anyone, but it's something that it'll be an organization that doesn't need people to keep it going. It's the organization it's the people that keep it going. It doesn't keep the people going. You know what I mean? You're gonna have people that want to come in, want to be a part. You know, and it'll be in 5 years' time. It'll be cool to see how much NUBASE has evolved. As we're both, you know, I'll be 30 in 5 years. So I mean, it'll be something. Well, it's scary, but
27.
Yeah, 30 is scary, but it's coming. It'll be really cool to see. Coming back and looking, you know, at a NUBASE, you know, 5-year or a 10-year anniversary of NUBASE would be something special if we can make it that far. Hopefully.
I agree. You talked about it just now too, but another thing that you've been really passionate about is mental health. Last year you launched the first mental health forum. At the time of this recording, you just did your second annual mental health forum. What is it about the whole conversation about mental health that got you so passionate to want to be involved, to want to create something where people are open, feeling comfortable opening up and talking about this?
Well, my first real instant of where I recognized that this was a problem with men's mental health is when I was younger, my mom, she's been a teacher at Wexford for 20-something years, right? So when I had
Shout out Wexford.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, Wexford. Go Vikings. So when I had my PA days, when I was in like middle school or like elementary school, she there was no one to look after me, so she'd take me to school with her. And there was a student who I'd always I'd go to every class with him, whatever. He would come watch my soccer games. You know, he'd come take me to movies. He was basically like an older brother, like a babysitter, but like an older brother. His name is Darius Garda. You know, like the Garda security trucks, they do the cash things. Yeah. So his parents own that company. Okay. But he was a great guy. So you know, as he graduated high school and I got older, they kind of fell off contact. You know, but my mom and his family still were in contact. You know, so there was still knowledge there. Yeah. And he became a police officer. For the Toronto Police, which is not an easy police force to work in because it's so big, and Toronto's a lot of city, a lot goes on, so it's a little more complex inner workings. And being a police officer is not an easy job. But on his first day, he had to shoot somebody. He was put in one of those positions where he had to shoot somebody, and that had a profound effect on him. And the WSIB, so I think it was Workplace Safety Board, they did not list post-traumatic stress disorder as a workplace-related injury.
Really?
So PTSD was not listed. So he couldn't get coverage for having to go, you know, see someone to talk about, you know, because having to shoot someone and having to kill someone, even though it's part of your job, it is a traumatic experience. Taking a life is unfortunately sometimes it's part of the job of a police officer to protect other people. You know, so Darius really struggled with that. You know, he was engaged, everything, and then one morning in, I believe it was February or March, I can't remember his date. He went down. We went out to a bar, had some drinks, and then stepped in Lake Ontario, and that was it. And he committed suicide. So, because again, just couldn't handle it anymore. And I think that for me was like, I remember being downstairs, and my mom coming and telling me that, and I was at first I was sad, obviously, and then I was just angry. As more details came out of what happened, I was so upset at every institution that had failed him. And so from that point on, I was really passionate about men's mental health. But as I progressed, I think how old was I? Like 17, 18?
Late teens, yeah.
Yeah, you know, when that happened, sports began to get more serious for me at that time. With soccer, I started playing League One Ontario, which is semi-pro league in Ontario. Yeah. That's kind of like the soccer version of the OHL. Okay. And that became everything for me, trying to play and trying to get to the next level. And at that, when you're playing high-level athletics, a lot of times, as you're young, you sacrifice your mental health because you don't want to show you're weak. You know, you want to push through pain, but also mental pain. You can't show you're tired. You can't show you're upset because people see that as someone being unstable and being a weakness and being a liability. And if you're a liability, you don't play. If you're weak, you don't play. If you're unstable, you don't play. And at that point, playing is your life. So you put that aside. And even more than putting it aside, you start putting these same unhealthy expectations on other people. You know, we say things like, don't be man up, all this stuff, and just we try to push away everyone else's mental health. And I was totally guilty of that. 100% I was a perpetuator of that system. And then coming to NUBASE and still doing the same things, not really changing my habits. And then, just at a certain point when I started struggling with my own mental health, it got to a point where I couldn't manage it anymore, and it got out of control, and it spiraled into different coping mechanisms that were extremely unhealthy. And it took a couple of my friends to say, listen, you need to go talk to somebody, or we're going to drag you in there. Yeah. And so then I eventually went and spoke to the counseling department at NUBASE, and also one of my teammates, Matt Samard, he was here last night for the panel,
Wait, shout out to Matt, the origin of this podcast.
Yeah, he started this podcast.
Shout
he was
out Matt,
former Lakers captain.
Yep.
He was a big one in pushing me to do that too, and creating a positive environment. And after I started to take care of myself, I was like, okay, I need to stop doing the, kind of doing how I've been treating myself. I've been treating other people like my teammates. And then I became captain. And I remember something that one of the guys who used to be here in Aladdin told me, because I used to be a yeller, just like screaming at guys.
Yeah.
And he's like some guys don't respond to that. And that never clicked in my head, because growing up as an athlete, all my coaches said just
just berate,
getting you. And as someone who's like, you grow up in a Caribbean household, that kind of Afrocentric environment where it's like, you gotta just take it and you gotta be better. You gotta be a baller, you gotta be a shooter, you gotta be a killer. Just go. Doesn't matter what everyone's saying at you. Just go, go, go. So I was like, all right, I'm taking that in, not realizing the effect that I didn't like it when it was happening to me. I used to I hated when I was getting screamed at, but I was like, it's making me tougher.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, it wasn't making them tougher. It was negatively affecting them, and I didn't want, and I was ignoring that. So I had to change my approach there. Then I realized that, okay, like if I'm gonna make a tangible difference, I need to actually take it further than just recognizing it in myself. If I don't help other people in the long term, I won't be helping myself, because I'll fall back into my old habits if I don't see a greater change. So, and then COVID happened, because I was like, COVID was happening. And I remember going and talking to Casey. I'm like, man, so many of my friends are now struggling in isolation. And as men, they feel like they have nowhere to talk to. They've lost that outlet for sports. They've lost all that. So like when I want to start something, he's like, let's do it then. And then we had the idea for this initiative. He put me in contact with some people that worked in SDS, and we just kind of started thinking of names and trying to progress it. And we started out just doing simple graphics and little video series. And then last year we had our first mental strength. That's the name of the initiative, Forum for Men's Mental Health, and it was amazing. And the turnout was amazing. The message got across. We just did it again last night. Again, same thing. The message got across really well. Some good speakers, and I think we're really starting to see a change in all, in just everyday men and male athletes and male identified people, that mental health matters. And as a man, you should have just as much as a right as anyone else to take care of your mental health and do what you need to do. If you need to take a mental health day, it's the same as saying you're sick, you can't come into work, or can't go to class. You just need a day for yourself, because if you're not right up here, you're not going to be right everywhere else, and it's going to just affect you. And then, as I said, unfortunately, a lot of people lose their lives. And and I said last night too, the culture of the environment around men's mental health is a product of the past. There's a quote that I love that says, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And I think the environment around men's mental health is a product of the past. So I want us to now make the environment surrounding it a product of the now, product of the present, so that men who are struggling have a future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we again have those hard discussions, really make those challenging, get out of our comfort zones, and try and really get everyone comfortable and open with doing it. And again, I think in 5-10 years, I won't need to have a forum every year for this, because men will be talking, they'll be sitting down in their rooms, with their friends in their restrooms, just talking about how they feel, their emotions, and their friends will be saying stuff like, oh, don't be just man up. Their friends won't be saying, let's just go out and drink and get drunk and then do something stupid and end up hurting ourselves even more. There'll be healthy coping mechanisms. They'll actually be addressing and building conversations, and you have it with a healthier population who's able to achieve so many great things, because they're stable up here and then they're stable in here. So hopefully in 5 years again it progresses.
Yeah, for me personally, like when it came to mental health, it was something that I never really thought about, because when you're younger, you're obviously one of those people that think, oh, it can't happen to me. Like you hear a lot of stuff, not just about mental health, but in general, thinking, oh, this can't happen to me.
Yep.
It was crazy because there's 2 incidents this summer where like I saw both sides to it. The first one was someone that I kind of between, but not exactly, but someone that I'd known. I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna describe it, but someone that I know that I kind of been out of touch with for a bit, recently reached out to me early in the summer, was just saying, hey, I need help with something, and then just talking about some stuff, and then they were saying that, hey, like I'm actually in a good place right now, because recently like I was trying to commit suicide, and I was like, and it just really made me see like, have we been that out of touch? And it wasn't even that long, but like it makes you realize like when you have friends or people that you haven't seen in a long time, because a lot of times people don't check up on each other, and that's one thing that kind of annoys me sometimes in general, just because I'm the type of friend that always likes to check up on people. So when it's not reciprocated, it's really upsetting. But it really made me realize that you really got to check up on people. even if you haven't seen them in a while, or you guys had friends, or whatever reason things just faded away, just sending a quick text saying, hey, I know we haven't talked about, but hey, how you doing? Or someone posts something well on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, say, hey, congratulations, how you doing?
Yeah, and that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit down in a room and talk for an hour about it, but you have to, it's about showing compassion and caring. And I find in this day and age, we have a lot of selfish people, a lot of people who try and put themselves first. And, like, if you need to get past that, and the best way to do it is by caring and showing you care. And again, you don't have to go buy someone, spend $200 on a gift, it's that, but just, hey, how you doing today? You okay? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Do you want to hang out later? Sure. No? Okay. Just small conversations. Yeah. And I know people sometimes they're so wrapped up in their own lives, they lose track of other people, but you really need to kind of evaluate, because you only have 24 hours in a day, but you're working for a certain amount, you're sleeping for a certain amount, that leaves limited time. If you don't take care of yourself and take care of other people, you lose an essentially human part of us, which is that social, compassionate side of us. And the best way to take care of yourself is to take care of other people. It's fulfilling. It's work that will never not feel rewarding. You help someone out, you feel better. And I love that. I love when someone comes to me and says, Dev, thank you for doing this, or thank you for listening to me this one time. You really helped, really made a difference. And like, again, I don't think either of us get into doing what we do for awards and recognition. The things that if I had not won, OUA awards, Dave Marshall awards, USports awards, I could have gone away. That stuff doesn't matter. Right. What I will remember is a teammate coming to me and saying, "Listen, man, thanks for being there when this happened," or "Thanks for just taking the time listening to me. You really helped me." And then seeing that teammate or that friend help someone else, and that's that other person thanking that teammate. It's like a butterfly effect. Flap your wings, and the ripples go outwards, and you create a huge change. So that change is worth more than any award or any prize on this planet.
Yeah, and I was actually about to ask you about it. You kind of answered, but let's just finish it off before we get into the fun part anyways. But the legacy aspect, we've both been blessed with winning multiple awards. Like you just won a USports award. I'm trying to get to that. You beat me to it. We talked about it, but honestly, like last year, Dave Marshall Award, Student Made Difference Award, Mental Health Award. You got an OUA award. Now you got a USports award. You just said it, which I appreciate. I'm the same way. The awards, we didn't get into the stuff for the awards. And I've always said that. I think that's why all the stuff that we do with each other in NUBASE has prospered, because we got into this for the right reasons. And we didn't care about the recognition. We didn't care about... the recognition is nice. Let's be honest. It's nice. It is nice. Let's keep it a bean. But the lives that we can affect and how we can bring people together, that was the most important thing. Now that you're graduating this year, and obviously you're in Teachers College and you're about to go into a new chapter where you're really about to help inspire the next generation, what do you want your legacy to be from leaving your time here at Nipissing?
As funny as it sounds, I don't really want my legacy to be mainly soccer. I want it to be everything else, I would like to be remembered as a good athlete, and as a good player, but more so a good person who kind of did a lot for other people, because again, like I said, like I can remember so many conversations, when I was in my first year with Matt, talking to him, and then him having, because I say without Matt, there would have been no mental strength, there would have been no Deven Doodnath who he is today. Right. He was someone I really looked up to, and I still look up to this day. A really good friend. But I think in terms of legacy, just someone that made a difference. And I think I want my first years now, when they're in their fifth year, to look back and be like, man, remember Deven? He really helped us out this time, or he really did this, and them telling their first years about me. And so there's kind of that legacy of and that legacy, my name or whatever it is, kind of inspires people to do the same things that I was doing. I want someone else to take over mental strength. I want someone else to, help run the point people thing.
Take a position in NUBASE.
And same thing, community outreach, And I think the point people is very important, and I want that to keep going. So if I can inspire someone to, really take care of themselves, and then just start taking care of other people, and once you feel that reward coming back in of taking care of someone else and seeing them thrive, that feeling it's irreplicable, it's irreplaceable. Right. You can't make that feeling. You can't have pride when you see when I have a teammate right now. He's a first year, and he's someone that I really think can make a difference. And I'm working with him on trying to separate identity and sport, and because he's a really good person, and I think he can make a huge change. I'm not gonna call him out because I don't want to put him on the spot.
Yeah.
But he's someone that I see working with him is very rewarding for me, and I can see him doing the same thing. And in terms of legacy, I want that banner, man. I'm not gonna lie. I want that banner.
Which one?
The USports one.
Oh, me too.
I want that banner.
Too, yo.
You know what I mean?
I promise you, I've been telling people that because I have the anti-racist banner. Because someone asked you, yo, if you win the USports award, you get it. I'm like, yes, I want the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I want the banner,
I'm not someone that like I get really uncomfortable when someone's like giving me awards and like presentations. Like I get kind of, I'm like, like it's like weird holding like a plaque.
Banner? Oh,
a plaque and an award. So like like that's kind of and everyone's like, oh yeah, good job, well done, congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, like cool. But a banner, man, like I work my butt off, and a banner
give me that
would
banner.
be cool. And I remember as good as Nipissing is, like sometimes they tend to just they did this, good job, that's it, and that they kind of gloss over your achievements.
Give me that damn
and
banner.
they don't know everything that's gone into it, So and like you work really hard, and like I want that banner. Like I want that banner.
Look at the mic.
Like I want that banner.
My voice said
it worked hard, and it's a major USports award. I feel like that deserves some recognition. And I think in terms of legacy, I go in the gym in 5 years, come back for homecoming.
That's what I'm saying.
And I see the banner with me up there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's legacy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's legacy. So I want that banner.
That's me. Hey, I
want that banner.
You heard it here, man. You hear people listening to the audio version, YouTube version. My man wants his banner.
I want my banner.
And by the grace of God, when I win USports Ken Shields Award, I want my banner too. I want my banner too.
And I don't want it to be my headshot. I want it to be an actual action picture. Don't use my headshot.
Yo, man.
Don't use my headshot.
Come on, man.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny.
But nah, Deven, man. Like I said, this is the first in-person podcast in 2 years, man. This is, man.
I know, and also I gotta say the doc said that I get a banner, so I'm holding everyone
exactly
watching this to that.
Exactly.
You guys said I'm getting a banner, so
hey, this is Lakers locker room, man. Listen, what happens on here, man, it happens, man. So
banner season.
Exactly. But for real, Deven, like I said, this is the first in-person podcast in 2 years, man. This has been so much fun. Like this beautiful student center, people watching YouTube version. We got shout out to Nusu for the equipment, man. Like this is top notch level, man. But this is honestly why I took over this podcast, and this really I wanted to push it forward because I wanted conversations like these, and I really wanted you to be the first person to come back in terms of an in-person podcast and really get this thing going again. So thank you so much for being open as always and just sharing your stories and just
no problem.
Congratulations on the award, man. I told you via text, man, but seriously, man, I was so happy for you when I saw that, man. I'm like, yo, you deserve that crap. For
yeah,
me,
it was shocked because they were announcing at the USports banquet for soccer. And that was in Kamloops, so they're a few hours behind us. So I found out at like 11 p.m. at night. I was sitting on the couch, and my coach called me. He's like, "Just what you know, congratulations, you won this award." And I was at Faith's house, my girlfriend, and I was like,
"Huh?"
Yeah, I was at Faith's house, and like she wasn't home. She went to the store to get some food.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I was like.
Yeah, because the OUA award, I was like, I knew I was nominated for the OUA award, and like,
yeah,
and I found out that I won. I was like, yeah, it's cool, it's OUA.
Yeah, me too.
But USports is like a whole.
That's a whole different beast, man.
Different level. It's a national level.
That's a whole different beast, man.
And the thing is too, even with the award, like the community service award, I almost feel guilty for winning it because there's so many other student athletes that are doing amazing things, and I feel like you shouldn't prioritize one over the other because everyone else there is doing amazing things. So I think everyone in terms of what deserves recognition and what they're doing, it shouldn't be prioritized. But at the same time, it is nice to win. So
no, you earned that, man. Like I said, man, congratulations, bro. You deserved it, man. Like how much awards on your resume? About 4 or 5?
Something like that.
Something like that, man. Like who's counting? But hey, man, like I said, we didn't do it for the awards. I'm so proud of you, man. Like I said, like we said, give my man his banner. Give my man his banner, bro. We gonna get it happen. But like I said, thank you for the opportunity to talk, man. It was fun. We're getting to the fun part of this podcast now. So the last time you came on here 2 years ago, we did the quick hitters. We switching up a bit. So we both from Scarborough. Like I said, we both grew up on the east side. He went to Wexford. I went to 2 high schools. I went to Cedar Brae and Pope. So I claim Pope.
Cedar Brae is my home high school.
I claim Pope. Shout out to Pope.
Right at Markham.
Go Panthers.
Markham and Lawrence there.
So we gonna see how much you really know Scarborough. Okay. So I got about 8 questions here.
I haven't lived at home in 2 years, but I should be good.
So let's see how much you really know Scarborough. People listening in the YouTube version. I got 8 questions on here. Let's say if you at least get 5 of them right. You're a Scar. We will claim you.
Let's go 8 for 8. 8 for 8.
All right. I didn't make this easy. You should get some, but let's see what you got. Okay, you ready?
Okay, let's go. What's the first one?
Question number 1. You should know this. Hopefully you know this one. In what year did Scarborough officially become a part of Toronto? A, 2000. B, 1994. C, 1998. or D, 1996?
That's I guess a historical question. Is it 96?
98.
98? Oh, 98.
You're 0 for 1, man. No.
Okay, that's a historical Scarborough question. That's not like a for the streets question.
Okay, but this one you should get. If you don't get this one, because there's so many options. You're not a Scarborough man. Name 3 bus routes that go to Scarborough Town Center.
Oh, okay, the 9.
Okay, Bellamy.
The 16 McCowan.
Yep.
And isn't like the 144? The one no, what's the rocket? 199.
Okay.
Yeah, the 199.
Well, they named it now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to say there's like 131, 133, 169.
Because there's one I would take, and the RT, the Scarborough RT, the RT that used to go from Kennedy Station to Scarborough Town Center.
It still goes, but like I know they're doing some stuff right now, but
Because I used to take the 50, like from going back from high school, I used to take the 54 to not Midland, like Lawrence RT station.
Yeah.
Take the RT to STC.
Yeah. Nah, I took.
And then the Toonie Tuesday, the movie theater.
There's so many bus routes I took at that place, man. My original one where I first grew up was 134. That was the original one I took.
134, yeah.
Because I lived near the Chinese Culture Center.
The 199. That's the Red Rocket. That goes to like Finch. And
yeah.
everything.
So 134/132.
I know my Scarborough
All right,
knowledge.
man.
Come
All
on.
right. Question number 3. The Weeknd is known for growing up in Scarborough. He's also known for dropping out of high school at age 17. Which Scarborough high school did he drop out of? A. Cedar Break Collegiate. B. West Hill Collegiate. C. Winston Churchill. Or D. David and Mary Thompson.
What are the options again?
So Cedar Break Collegiate,
Yeah.
West Hill Collegiate, Winston Churchill, or David and Mary Thompson.
Wasn't it West Hill?
Yep,
Yeah,
you
it was
got
West
it.
Hill, yeah.
It was West Hill.
It
Went
was
to
West Hill.
Birchmount, then he went to West Hill and dropped out
Yeah.
at West Hill. So you're 2 for 3 so far. Okay,
Yeah.
not bad. Okay, another high school question. Name 3 Scarborough high schools named after a former prime minister.
After a former prime minister?
Name 3.
Prime Minister of Canada?
Yes.
So not Winston Churchill. Isn't there Lester B. Pearson?
Yes. Malvern. Yep. Yep.
3 Scarborough named after a former prime minister. Lester B. Pearson. And like in Scarborough.
Yes. I can give you like 4 or 5.
Wilfrid Laurier.
Yep.
Isn't that SATEC now though?
No. So Wilfrid Laurier. No, that's at Morningside.
Yeah, and it's Wilfrid Laurier and Johnny McDonald.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it said like Robert Borden, which
yeah.
cut closed and like Mowat, Sir Oliver Mowat.
Yeah, Mowat.
I mean, John Diefenbaker is a middle school that's actually right across my house.
Yeah,
but it's not a high school.
No, it's not a high school.
So, okay, so right now you're 3 for 4.
3 for 4.
Okay, here's another high school question. Scarborough is home to one of 7 self-learning schools in Canada. Which one is it? A. Pope John Paul II or St. John Paul II. B. Mary Ward. C. Woburn or D.
It's Mary
Bridgemont?
Ward. It's
Yeah.
Mary Ward. It's
Okay.
Mary Ward. As soon as you said, I knew it was Mary Ward.
There you go. For 4 for 5.
I play soccer there all the time.
All right,
Because they got a nice turf field there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question number 6. I really want to see if you can get this one. In Drake's hit song Energy, Drake references a Scarborough street name in one of his verses. What was the name of that street?
You're not giving me options?
Yeah, I can play the track, I can pause it for you.
Yeah, play the
I'll
track.
play it up to you. I'll play it up for you.
I need to hear the song
Yeah,
before I make a.
Hopefully. All right, here we go.
Kennedy Road.
Yeah.
As you go to Habibi's was there. That's where the sushi lounge was. That's where it was.
That's
Kennedy
a good
Road.
One. Okay, so you got one right. You're good. Okay, I don't know if I can get this one, but let's see. Question number 7. Which famous rapper played for the CBL Scarborough Shooting Stars this past summer?
J. Cole.
Okay, you got it. I didn't know if you follow basketball like that, but okay, you got it. All right, so you passed the test. You claimed Scarborough, but we got one final question. It's a true or false question.
True or false?
The CN Tower opened before the Toronto Zoo.
False.
How did you know? You're right.
Is that? That's all
You're
I told
right.
you. 7 for 8.
The Toronto Zoo opened 1974. CN Tower opened 1976. Wow.
Oh, it's a lot closer than I thought it was. I thought the CN Tower.
Okay, man. 7 for 8, man. You're a
Hey,
Scarborough.
I told you. Come on. Put some respect.
Yes, sir, man.
Put some respect. Scarborough. Stand up.
Devin, man, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. This is really fun, bro.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I think doing this, having the YouTube page going and the actual video stuff, that will be much better than just the Zoom stuff, you know? So
I know.
Get us back in person, getting some more guests out here, you know, and hopefully I can be on it, you know, one more time before I graduate.
No doubt, no doubt. And
A senior special. Me, Tyrell, and Jack.
Hey, man. We'll see what happens, man. With that said, man, that is a wrap on a new version of the Lakers Locker Room in person. We are back, man. Thank you so much for my guy, Deven Doodnath. You can watch the video versions interview on YouTube and listen to the full interview on all podcast streaming platforms. Thanks, Deven.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.